I'm James Robson. I'm head of the Department of Classical Studies at the Open University, and I guess I should say that I'm co-organising this conference with Mair. I rather feel that Mair has done the bulk of the work and has provided the bulk of the energy. She's been a rather marvellous person to organise a conference with, I must say. It is genuinely amazing to see so many people here. I originally had the idea for this conference about 18 months ago and thought it'd be nice to have an event. We have a number of events, so a conference each year which somehow tries to connect our research and our teaching. And I thought, well, we should do an event like that with languages as well. And I think I was thinking that we would twist the arms of a few people perhaps to give some talks, and I'll twist the arms of a few colleagues and some friends to turn up and be here. And what we have instead is a sold-out conference, which is absolutely wonderful. All of the people that Mair and I put down on the back of an envelope is, wouldn't it be great for them if we got them to come and speak, said they could make it by return of email as well, so that was also great. And the response as well has been wonderful from funders, and so we have been lucky enough to receive money from the Institute of Classical Studies, from the CUCD Education Committee, and we might even be getting some money from the HEA Academy as well. Far too much, in fact, for this conference. We have really tried to spend as much as we can. Lunch is going to be really quite reasonable, but we're going to have a lot of cash left over, it would appear. So who knows, maybe we get to have another event like this at some point in the future. What all this money means, however, is that we can fund postgraduate travel. You should have got an email about travel expenses already, and a rather complicated looking OU claim form. I've tried in the email that I got sent out to explain how to fill in that form, but do get back to me or our departmental coordinator, Yvonne Bartley, if you've got any questions about filling that in. But keep your receipts, that's the important thing. Keep your receipts if you're going to claim travel. Okay, so the schedule for today, talks are from 11 until 12:30, just seeing one of our morning speakers arrive, which is always good. Then we have lunch from 12:30 till 1:30, but as part of our packed schedule, we also have a show and tell session during the lunchtime as well. So some people, me included, will be brandishing laptops and be showing off some of the resources that we have online for you. The question which struck me when actually sitting down with Mair as to what this conference might look like, talking about that, was what themes we were going to cover. For me, I guess part of the object was to do a show and tell, to show off some of the things which that we've done in our institution, and also get to know what is going on elsewhere as well. And often nowadays, behind universities' paywalls and what have you, it's very difficult to get access to what other institutions are actually playing at. So it's great that we've, say, got Alison and Nick here who have been involved in projects at their own institutions. Why do the vacuuming now? Oh no, it's the Pens Riot. But what we also wanted to do is use this as an opportunity to explore pedagogy, and that will happen to different extents, I think, in different papers. But that very much plugs into what Mair is studying for her PhD, for example. So it's wonderful to have so many perspectives from throughout the UK, also from abroad. We have a speaker, we hope, online from the States later. We also have people here from Poland and Germany who I've not met yet, but I'm hoping that they're going to participate, especially in the plenary session at the end of the day, and also be able to do some of the show and telling at lunchtime too. I think this opportunity to talk about pedagogy is really important. When I first joined the OU back in 2000, a long time ago now, the LTSN was at its height, and you really do need to be of a certain age now to know what those letters stand for. But we were having pedagogical conferences all the time, and people were outing themselves throughout the sector as engaged teachers with interesting teaching ideas. And we were coming together, we were having meetings, and we were talking about this. I think this happens a lot less nowadays. The CUCD Education Committee, fairly newly formed, is taking things forward brilliantly and sort of picking up where the HEA Academy has left off. But maybe that's partly to do with why this morning's why today has been so popular. Just a really important opportunity to talk about pedagogy, and also to talk about the way that technology is changing what we do. Language teaching is one aspect of this, but we all have VLEs in our institutions. I guess we all have learnt on our feet how to use them, and I'm not sure the extent to which we've really compared notes on that. So I hope this is the beginning of something more. So, in terms of housekeeping, so lunch at 12:30. Tea and coffee will be before the plenary session. We were meant to have mini Danish today, and I'm very, very bitter that they haven't turned up this morning. But we have negotiated biscuits for this afternoon to make up for them. It's a poor substitute, I agree. Toilets are just outside the door here. And, oh yes, the most important thing, at the end of the day, we get thrown out of here at 4, 5, I can't remember. 4 o'clock. But there is more of today left after 4 o'clock and some sunshine to enjoy. I think there's genuine possibilities of either cups of tea or beer, depending on which of me and Mair wins. I won't tell you who's championing which cause there. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Mair as well, also to finish off this introduction. That sounds bad. You know what I mean? Continue.
I have brought glasses there, I'll be able to look at you now. I'll actually be putting in a bid for red wine at the end, so after we've had tea, we might well adjourn to somewhere to carry on our discussions. So, if I stand here, the cameraman will be happier than if I suddenly switch to the other side. What I wanted to tell you is today we will be recording sound throughout the day. We'll probably switch it off at lunchtime. Don't say anything bad about anybody else that you would like not to be recorded. We will be discarding the recording that we do during the discussion sessions. We're just keeping the sound in order to have good quality sound synced with video for the presentations. I'm hoping that all the presentations will be made available on video after the conference. So, be careful what you say. Hopefully you have all either got your own network connection or you've connected to EduRoam. If you've got a university login, there's an EduRoam network here that you'll be able to log into. If not, and you've asked me for a password and login, you should be able to log into the guest network using the one that I sent out by email. Yeah? If you tweet, I would be very grateful if you would tweet the conference. Let's try and get with the beat. And the hashtag that we're using is hashtag iLEG. So that's iLatin, eGreek, hashtag iLEG. If you do tweet with that, I will definitely follow you. I'm at Mair Lloyd. And I will definitely be circulating news, storifying anything that you say and making that available to people who couldn't come after the conference. Okay, I've got two friends here, Anne and Maddie, who are going to be taking photographs throughout the day. I haven't told them that yet, but they are going to be taking photographs throughout the day. If you don't want to be photographed, you can see they've got lovely hair, both of them. Maddie has gone for a purple theme and Anne is blue. So if you see them taking photographs and you don't want your photograph to go anywhere, then just say to them, can you just leave it out, chaps? Okay? So the other thing that James has asked me to talk to you very briefly about is the CUCD survey, for which I am also responsible / to blame. Okay? So what we have done is we've picked up some very good work that I believe Nick Lowe, who's with us today, played a very big part in, that took place in 1994, which is when we had the last survey of practice in UK university teaching. Now, Nick's survey was a little bit wider than ours. We've concentrated only on universities. Part of the reason at least, that I'm interested in this is that my research is about using e-learning for teaching Latin and ancient Greek. So I very much wanted to establish what the state of play is at the moment, what attitudes to technology are at the moment, what technology is out there at the moment. So I'm a bit selfish, but also maybe a little bit generous, because it does mean that we can now do a survey again and see how we've moved on, and see if we can share good practice and inspire each other again. So at the centre of my interest in today is UK university practice, particularly for beginners. But we've got a much wider group of practitioners here, and I hope we're going to inspire each other throughout the day and ongoing, perhaps. So, let me just tell you a little bit about the survey. Last one, 1994. This year, I've been doing one. If you have received a survey link, it's not my fault that you were picked. We actually asked the CUCD representative in each university to provide two people. One who knew about Greek teaching for beginners, one who knew about Latin teaching. They fingered two people in each institution, and I got the emails, and then I've circulated links to online surveys to all of those people. There are 27 universities in CUCD at the moment. We've had contacts for 24. There are 3 universities we're still waiting to get contacts for. The 24 that we've sent them out to, we have had 13 back. Those went out in December and January. That's great. We've had 13 back from each. They're not the same universities. That's just a coincidence. Okay? 4 people, bless them, have completed 2 surveys because somebody said, oh, they're the best at Latin and the best at Greek. So that's a shame for them. But we have got 4 heroes who have so far completed 2 surveys. There's a varying degree of completeness. I will tell you that the speed record for the survey is 6 minutes. So I will leave you to consider that yourselves without me making any further comment. One of the things that I wanted to show you though was, and one of the things we can compare, is just have a very quick look at the textbooks that we were using in '94 and the textbooks that we're using now. This is based, of course, only on 13 results for Latin, 13 results for Greek. But what I've done here, those are the textbooks that we were using in '94, and these are the textbooks. That's the number of universities on the right, by the way. And you were allowed to tick more than one. I will give you the slides after if you want them as well. So you can take photographs if you'd like to see how lovely I looked in front of the slides, but I will let you have the slides as well. So this is now, and I've highlighted in yellow the books that we were using in 1994. So you can see that the 6 and 3.9 at the top are still very much using books that were current then. I don't think that Jones and Sidwell has been revised in the interim. So those are still using very similar materials. I think, no, I'm not sure if any of the others have been revised actually, but you can see that there's a little more variety come in, but most of the people who've responded are still using books from 1994. If we have a look at the Greeks, then, Nick, I've got no idea why that says 4.5. I pinched this off your website. 4.5, don't know, don't worry. Obviously, there were quite a lot of people using Athanadze, but reading Greek was still at the top. Now, if we look at where we are now, we've still got reading Greek very popular, still got Athanadze very popular, and really not much new coming in, just a couple of universities bringing in stuff that we weren't using then. But I do think that reading Greek has been revised, so maybe it's not exactly the same book, but I think it's still moderately similar. It does look a lot nicer than it did. But we haven't, in terms of the materials, in terms at least of the textbooks, moved on a massive amount. Just before I hand over to James again, I just want to bring to your attention one of the last questions on the survey, where we asked whether, and maybe it was a strange thing to ask, whether their colleagues embraced the opportunities of technology. Now, you can see that most people are sitting on the fence here in the middle and saying, oh, well, some do, some don't, and I think that's probably true. Down at this end, this actually says not really. Sorry, I seem to have lost a bit of text there. Not really. The red is the Latin, so I'm afraid the Latinists are, lagging a little bit behind with the enthusiasm, and the blue is the Greek. And so up at the, oh yes, definitely end, we have got a few more Greeks than Latinists. Not going to, draw any conclusions from that. It's early days. We haven't had half the surveys back in yet. But we still have perhaps a little bit of enthusiasm to generate for those who are not quite as, I know I'm preaching to the converted because you're here today, but we have maybe a little bit of enthusiasm to generate among our colleagues and in our departments for the opportunities that IT has got to offer for us. And with that in mind, we're all focused today perhaps on ancient languages, but there's a lot of great stuff going on around the universities. There's a lot of wonderful stuff. We've got somebody from the IRIS project here today, Suzanne's here, who's doing a lot of outreach into the community and into schools. We've got my supervisor from Modern Languages. If you could all be very nice to her, please. I'd like her to say I was doing well. We're marvellously lucky to have people from other countries with us. I think people have come from Leiden to be with us, and possibly even further afield. But we've also, by a happy fluke, got 2 technology experts in the room. So they're going to call our bluff if we if we say anything too outrageous. But most of all, we've got each other here today. We've got each other in UK universities and each other who are passionate about taking those opportunities and making our teaching and the students' learning perhaps more interesting, perhaps more effective. We'll see as the day goes on what we've got to inspire each other with. So with that, I will hand over to my lovely colleague James, who's wonderful to work with.